Right, good afternoon everybody. Welcome to this meeting of the Council's Cabinet, for which will be webcast. Before we start proceedings, may I bring to your attention some housekeeping matters. Please will all councillors make sure that they are able to participate in the meeting in a way that prevents them from being distracted, if at all possible. Please will you also turn off your microphone when you are not speaking and make sure that your mobile devices are turned to silent. Okay, you ready, Bill? Yes. Okay, righty-ho. Right, apologies. We have an apologies from the leader and apologies from Councillor Carlisle. Okay. Do any members have any declarations of interest in respect of items on the agenda today? No. Okay. Right. I move on to item 3 on the agenda, which is the minutes of the previous meeting. I propose that the minutes of the previous meeting held on the 7th of July 2022 be signed as a correct record. All in agreement? Okay. That's over to Jamie. Thank you. All right. Right, moving on to item 4, questions from the public. We have a question from a Mr. Danny Bamping. Can the council leader, Richard Bingley, please explain how he intends to rename Sir John Hawkins Square to Zelensky Square when Plymouth City Council's policy on street naming clearly states, in order to avoid causing offence either by inclusion or exclusion or to appear biased, a street should not be named after a living person or individual. In response to that, the leader expressed his opinion about honouring Vladimir Zelensky and acknowledged that it is not his decision to be taken. It is a decision to be taken in line with the relevant procedures if and when the council considers taking this issue forward. Thank you. All right, we move on now to the Chair's urgent business. To receive any items of urgent business. No urgent. Okay, so there are no items of urgent business for the Chair. We move on now to Leader's announcement. Okay, if I start off then. Right, so it's congratulations to our Commonwealth athletes. I would like to start this meeting here by congratulating the Plymouth athletes with their tremendous performance at the Commonwealth Games. They were brought home 5 medals, including Ben Proud, gold medal, swimming 50 metres freestyle, not 50 miles. Giselle Ainsley, gold medal for hockey. Lewis Burris, silver medal, swimming 50 metres freestyle. Alison Yearling, a bronze medal for lawn bowls. And finally, Laura Stevens, a bronze medal for swimming 200 metres butterfly. I know they will be inspiring local children to follow in their footsteps, and I look forward to hearing about their further sporting successes in the future. The second announcement is new homes for the city. This week, I also want to welcome the announcement that plans for a £33.5 million eco-friendly neighbourhood offering more than 140 new affordable homes in the heart of the city centre have moved one step forward. Whilst it's still a long way off, there is another example of a groundbreaking scheme by Plymouth Community Homes in partnership with the City Council. A huge amount of work has gone into this and going on behind the scenes to get this to a stage, but this is incredibly encouraging news. The prospect of so many new homes, including plenty of affordable options in such a key location, is extremely welcome. The next bit of news we have here is Levelling Up Fund. Since the last Cabinet meeting, I am pleased to announce that we have submitted our pitch for £19.9 million of investment under the government's Levelling Up Fund to unlock funding for a package of transitional and transformational infrastructure projects. The bid is as a result of the partnership work across the city, and fingers crossed we will be successful. If we get the funding, 3 key projects have been put forward, and this helps us to make most of the opportunities available as part of the new Freeport status, as well as help create a city where everyone can reach their full potential. This includes the delivery of a Freeport Innovation Centre, which will house high-value businesses, innovation and startups, modernisation of port infrastructure, supporting business growth, high-value jobs and international trade, and finally, transforming our waterfront for repurposing derelict buildings to engage and inspire and train our future workforce. Watch this space. And then finally, I have a bit of news here. It's just gone through for a cabinet member for garden waste. Garden waste collections are to end early this year, I'm afraid, as part of urgent measures to help address a projected £13.6 million overspend in the City Council's budget. The collections, which will have been temporarily suspended for 1 month due to staff shortages, will, I'm afraid, end the 2022 season following one final collection round starting Monday the 15th of August. We are facing a very serious financial position, which is largely due to national issues beyond our control, and we've had to act now if we will be going to be able and be in with a chance of balancing the books at the end of this financial year. We anticipate that stopping collections will now, instead of in November, save us around £200,000, and that will be sorely needed. We will be carrying out one more collection over the next fortnight to make sure that everyone can get rid of their garden waste and that they have been building up over the last month. We are sorry for the inconvenience that this may cause, but we have hoped that the people understand that the rising costs that we are experiencing are now beyond our controls. The decision is for this year's collections only. We have not made any decisions with regards to our garden waste collections next year. The decision was made as the Council's Cabinet consider the Revenue Monitoring Report highlighting a projected £13.6 million overspend in this year's budget due to rapidly rising energy, fuel and material costs, as well as the increasing demand and costs on our social care services. The escalating energy costs also include £1 million bill for additional street lighting, and this sees, the council also is seeing a 31% increase in fuel costs for its fleet, which includes refuse and recycling collection vehicles. The ongoing impact of the pandemic is also seen in many other rising cost and demand pressures. Change to people's working habits has also led to an increase in the amount of domestic waste that everybody has been generating, and this has added nearly £1 million to our additional collection costs. There is also an ongoing rise in the number of people requiring adult social care services. There has also been an increase this year in the number of people requiring emergency bed and breakfast accommodation. We really do not relish making any decisions that reduce services for Plymouth residents, but it would be irresponsible not to act quickly and let the problem get even worse. We have limited scope for what we can do within our key services, such as social care, which are statutory, but we are having to explore every option that we possibly can to reduce costs. Garden waste collections are discretionary, and Plymouth remains one of the few remaining councils that offer the service without charging an annual fee. A report on the other options for reducing projected overspend is due to be considered at a further Cabinet meeting in the next coming weeks. When garden waste collections end, residents will be able to take their waste to the council's household recycling centres or compost at home wherever possible. Households who are making the trips to the recycling centres are encouraged, wherever possible, to also take the garden waste from friends, families and neighbours who don't have access to a vehicle. Thank you very much. Okay, moving on now to item 7, it's for Cabinet members. Jonathan Dreen, yes please.
Thank you, Leader. I just wanted to share with colleagues and anyone joining with us online today, I was honoured to host a visit by Baroness Fear from the House of Lords in the city on the 25th of July, and after the visit it was followed by a dinner at Elliot Terrace hosted by the Leader in the evening. She arrived by train, so naturally we took the opportunity to discuss the Plymouth Station regeneration TCF projects with her, which, as I'm sure you know, is a £40 million project. After that, we went out to look at the strategic schemes through the major route networks and also the infrastructure at the Forder Valley Interchange and the Forder Valley Link Road. While we were there on the Link Road, we took the opportunity to show her the e-bikes, the Beryl e-bikes, etc., and discuss with members from the Balfour BT team about the construction and how it had worked. It's, as we know, a new 1 kilometre road being built, linking William Prance Road and Derriford with the Forder Valley Road, Novoroscock Road junction in the east. She was very pleased to see the Beryl bikes and the co-car when we showed them. She shared with me during the visit that when she first became a minister in the House of Lords, this was the very first thing she signed off. So for her to be in a city and see these coming to fruition, it was really appreciated that she came down. We also showed her the Northern Corridor Strategic Cycle Network along Primbridge Road, which is taking progress at the moment, and then obviously with help from the Levelling Up Fund, the Woolwell to the George Transport Interchange Scheme. Later on, we showed her Manadon, the plans that we have for that, and the EV pop-up chargers on the Hoe, finally a trip on the EV ferry, so she could actually see what was done in partnership work with colleagues there. Just moving on to the highways, what the highways team have been up to recently. The CCTV centre, the VMS and UTC tenders have been circulated, and we hope to have a upgraded software and hardware in place by next year. Micro asphalt treatment, that's 90,000 metres squared, is being delivered from September, which is in addition to our yearly resurfacing programme. The surface dressing of 40,000 metres has been now completed. Again, this is in addition to the published resurfacing treatment. The Ridgeway pedestrian upgrade is nearly complete, and the 6 major junctions are now upgraded to the mover, which is funded by TCF again to keep the traffic moving. And in September, it sees the commencement of the lane markings using the new MMA system that reduces carbon emissions, lasts longer, and improves visibility. And this will also be seen on zebra crossing markings across the city. Finally, I just wanted to share with everyone, we don't often talk about Catwater Harbour. And recently when I had a meeting there, I was given some facts which I just wanted to share with everybody really. 95% of all cargo in and out of Plymouth is transiting through the Catwater facilities there. It's facilitated over 2.2 million tonnes of cargo through the port last year. That's an increase of 370,000 tonnes on the previous year. There are new exciting customers established with more regular shipping movements, Mexico and I believe Egypt as well coming in. The cargoes for our bulk carriers carrying clay, fertiliser, salt, liquid cargo, projected cargo, and will feed as well as more heavy materials as well. They've taken on 10 apprentices to work in the port in the last 18 months. And they're investing millions in the port going forward, from offshore cranes to various harbour vessels. And the final point is they have an engagement programme with schools, giving students hand-on experience and what happens going through the port, so it might be a career move for them to make in the future. Thank you, Chair.
Thank you, Councillor Dreen. Moving on, Councillor Wakeham.
Sorry. Just a very quick one. I just want to add to what you've said about garden waste collections. Yes, we apologise for having to cancel them, but Mark has explained, it's very necessary to do this at this stage to prevent further budget problems in the future, and this will help us. So we will continue, of course, the green and the brown bin collections because they are mandatory. But as we know, a lot of other areas charge for garden waste, which we haven't done to date. So, you know, we've been very lucky to carry this on for so long. Now, just moving on from there, I want to thank all our officers and pay tribute to all our outdoor workers who literally, whether it's refuse collectors or whether it's street scene people in general, they're all working out in the extreme heat. And, you know, this takes its toll on you at the end of the day. So I want to thank them for that and for the efforts that are put in on our behalf. So thank you to them. Now, the crews have been out removing weeds on central reservations, and I hope everybody notices that the area is looking pretty good at the moment. Of course, as the grass dies off and we don't need to cut the grass in our parks and play areas, etc., the weeds continue to grow. And if you look around, they're shooting out everywhere again. We don't need rain for that, they just continue to grow. But hopefully we will be able to control it and continue as we are. And I think, as I said, the guys on the ground are doing an absolutely fantastic job. So thank you, Chair.
Thank you very much, Councillor Wickham. And moving on to Councillor Patel. Thank you.
Thank you, Chair. I'd like to start by thanking all our events, leisure, NMP and street services teams and our partners who have ensured that we have the very best events we have ever had. The summer period has been phenomenal and there's more to come. The rest of my brief, Plymouth Digital Inclusion Network has been recognised at the annual SOTIUM Awards. This is a Society for Innovation, Technology and Modernisation, and is a membership organisation for developing and delivering public services. Plymouth Digital Inclusion Network is a citywide network of several council departments and partner organisations to tackle digital exclusion, and the network has won the award for the best outcome for a community group or area. The library services, we're pleased to say that so far this year, more than 2,500 children have registered for the Summer Reading Challenge, and already more than total the number last year. The challenge was promoted at a special event at the Guildhall during a visit to schools and also via video played to children in classes. The registration services, our registration services are in the midst of a wedding season and are conducting many ceremonies each week. The team are going above and beyond and are fully committed to our individual customer needs, which include short notice ceremonies for vulnerable and terminally ill patients. The service is also working closely with the new Lord Mayor to modernise our citizenship service and ceremony to bring Plymouth's history to life. I would say to anyone that if you haven't been to one of these citizenship ceremonies, try and get it in your diary for the next one. It's definitely worth going to. Sale GP, we had a wonderful weekend of Sale GP for those of you that were there at the end of July. The estimates, and these are estimates only, approximately 30,000 spectators across the land and water, including the Duchess of Cambridge. Sale GP have said she wants to come back. At least 20 organisations worked in partnership to make it happen, not to mention all the hard work of the PCC staff. There were 51 million views of Sale GP Plymouth on TikTok alone. Yeah, that's a phenomenal amount of hits, 51 million for that, and two mentions an hour for the National Marine Park on Sky Sports throughout the live broadcasts. 1,137 young people were directly involved in the Inspire programme, including 225 children and adults with additional needs, and 150 young people will be gaining sailing qualifications as a part of the Legacy programme. Heritage Fund, NMP first year anniversary last year. The Plymouth Sound National Marine Park received £9.5 million Heritage Horizons Award from the National Lottery Heritage Fund. 1 year on, the impact and benefit of this investment is already being felt across the city, with a summer of community activities taking part. To date, over 6,000 residents have engaged at the NMP events, including the open weekend in April, mini splash events and the big blue splash event. To mark the first anniversary, Elish McGuinness, CEO of the Heritage Fund, visited Plymouth to celebrate this milestone and the ongoing partnership with the city. Over the 2 days she was here, we had a boat trip of the NMP area, highlighting some of the work that's going on around Plymouth Sound. And on the second day, we had a trip around Devonport to see what has been delivered with the funding already received. Going on to the events programme, the next big event is the British Firework Championship next week on the 17th and 18th. And this is also the 25th anniversary of the annual event, which sees 6 of the top UK firework display companies compete to be crowned the best. There will be entertainment to enjoy on Plymouth Hoe from 2 p.m, entertainment on the stage from 6 p.m, and fireworks begin at 9:30. Another big event coming up is the West End Carnival. West End Carnival will take place on Saturday, 27th of August from 11 a.m. to 4 p.m, and it will be a free, fun-packed day of live music, street entertainment and family-friendly activities. Moving on, the Box. I am pleased to announce that the Box has been re-awarded Archive Services Accreditation by the National Archives. This recognises good performance in all areas of archive service delivery and is equivalent to a successful Ofsted inspection for a school. Last week, Jeff James, CEO of the National Archives, visited the Box to present the accreditation certificate. The accreditation renewal is a welcome acknowledgement of the great deal of hard work by colleagues working on the front line, helping the public use our quotation research room and galleries containing archives and audiovisual collections. Our team of archivists, conservatives, media technicians and assistants, our learning and engagement team, our commercial teams and our army of wonderful volunteers. Only 10% of all archives in the UK are accredited, so this is a very huge achievement for Plymouth, and we should feel proud that our facilities have been awarded this. Thank you.
Right, thank you very much there, Cabinet team. That's a really lot of exciting bits of news there, both that have happened in the past that everybody's enjoyed in Plymouth, and a good long list there of things that are going to come to Plymouth that we can all look forward to. And then behind that, I'd also like to say thank you very much to all the team out there in Plymouth City Council who are obviously working hard to actually bring all these events to the fore for us and keeping the streets clean and doing all the hard work that they're doing out there. This is a really exciting time for us, and we really, really want to keep moving forward positively. Right, I now take you on to agenda item number 8, the Finance and Capital Monitoring Report, month 3. This report sets out to show us the revenue monitoring position of the council at period 3 to the end of the financial year 22-23. The cash expenditure for the capital programme for period 3, the Q1 capital programme update, the report of the work of the Cabinet Working Group on the commercial income, and finally the update of the revenue environments. The recommendation is the forecast, the Cabinet notes the forecast revenue monitoring position at period 3, the capital expenditure of the capital programme at period 3, the Q1 capital programme update, the work of the Cabinet Working Group on the commercial income as it stands, and the update of that revenue budget environment. This report is to proceed forward for consideration to the meeting of full council of the 19th of September 2022. Can I all have your votes of agreement? Is there anything that you would wish to discuss? Yes.
So, Cabinet, just before you go to the vote on this item, I think it's incumbent on me as the Chief Executive just to say a few words about the report. The situation that we're in is grave. A few years ago, we had a position at this point in the year of 8 million, and that was really, really difficult. 13 million is an unprecedented position for this council to be in. We're not alone. You will have seen correspondence and newsletters and information coming from a whole variety of other councils who are under similar pressures. And those pressures are primarily from the external environment for the national and international issues that we have, but also from the pressures that we have in our city in supporting, in many cases, the most vulnerable people in our city. So this situation is difficult. We will have to make sure that we are bringing in a balanced budget at the end of this year. There is no room for an overspend. By law, we have to balance the books. And so the work that I know that you, along with officers, along with all members of the council need to do is to focus on making sure that we can balance the books. That job is not easy. We will have to look everywhere for savings because this is not brought about, this position is not brought about because of massive inefficiency in what we're doing. In fact, we have absolutely made sure that we are as efficient as we can be. That isn't to say that there aren't further programmes of change that we can implement, but this is about unprecedented national and international positions, and we hear that on the news all the time. So the work that we are going to have to do is to make sure that we do balance the budget in year. And that is really important. Number one, as I say, because we cannot have an overspend. We have to balance our books. But the situation and forecast for the future is not looking much better either. And so making sure that we have got a budget that's balanced for this year, it means that we are moving forward with proposals for balancing the budget for next year. And clearly we're working on those at the same time. So this is not something that we want to ever be in a position to do, but I know that one of the most important things is the way in which we all as a council pull together in situations like this and make sure that we are making the best decisions that we can under the circumstances. So Deputy Leader, over the next few weeks, and we have been working and we will continue to work on ideas and proposals that we need to work on, that we bring before you in relation to managing the position in year, but also thinking about the future years. I just wanted to make those points.
So, colleagues, as we discussed earlier on this afternoon, there are extreme pressures on each one of your directorates, your strategic directors and your functional directors, and I look to you to support and assist them in looking for as many cost-saving measures as we can achieve here. And yes, I do understand that a number of the magnitude of the current deficit we have is based upon pressures from outside of the council and our practices, etc. But there are methods and ways of us moving forward and supporting our directors to achieve further cost savings. So we'll be looking for your support there to move forward over the next month and support these measures. Okay, so we now move forward to the vote for presenting this report forwards. Have a show of hands, please. Okay, thank you. Okay, we move on to item number 9, modern slavery update. And I hand over to Councillor Smith.
Thank you. So the papers that you have in front of you today relating to modern slavery are lay out the steps which the council is already taking to prevent and combat modern slavery, and how we're going to keep doing that going forward. So despite the tragedies which our city has experienced over the past couple of years, Plymouth remains a safe city where thankfully modern slavery and trafficking are rare. However, I'm sure we all agree that we must not be complacent. We must take proactive steps to keep making our city a challenging environment for the perpetrators of such crimes. We must also continue to take steps to protect our most vulnerable residents from becoming victims. Our commitment to combating modern slavery centres on our modern slavery statement, which is in your papers. It sets out the progress we have made in addressing modern slavery in our supply chains and organisation, along with the work that we have been doing with our partners, such as the police, to tackle modern slavery at a city and regional level. And for those members who are newer councillors, they might not remember that we actually did that through, I think it was a motion of notice in full council about procurement in particular. So we have done quite a lot, even within the four or 5 years that I've been involved, to work on this. A detailed progress update of the work which has been completed during the 21-22 fiscal year can be found in Appendix A. As set out in our new statement, our efforts over the next year will be targeted towards raising awareness of the signs of modern slavery and the delivery of further initiatives to embed our approach to tackling modern slavery within the council. So it's that twofold external and internal focus. We will continue to support our procurement colleagues to undertake annual training in ethical procurement, and will reach out to all staff to increase awareness of modern slavery as part of our internal communication efforts. We will also be taking steps to ensure we meet the new modern slavery reporting requirements as set out in this year's Queen's Speech. So today's ask is that we agree the new statement and policy, and that together we continue to be vigilant in our communities and report any concerns, and encourage our constituents in our wards to report any concerns that they may have regarding modern slavery to the police. So we're not asking people as a result today to intervene themselves, but to just be vigilant. When you see things that look odd, often they are odd for a reason, and we want people to do their bit to ensure that our city continues to be safe for people who otherwise might be victims of modern slavery. So I think I'll hand back to you if you want to take us to the vote, I guess.
Okay, thank you very much, Councillor Smith. And we move on now to agenda item number 10.
We have to agree it. Sorry, we have to agree that.
We do need to vote on.
Shall I repeat what we're voting on? So I'm asking you to agree the new modern slavery statement and policy is the vote, and obviously within that we then all agree to do what we can to tackle it as well. So.
Okay, councillors. All agreed? Okay, all agreed. Thank you. Now we move on to item number 10, Community Equipment Service Contract Award Report. Members of the Cabinet, you will have seen the report which contains commercially confidential information. Does any member wish to ask questions about part 2 of the report, or discuss information that's held in part 2 of the report? Nope. Okay. Right, Councillor John Mahoney, can you introduce the report, please?
Thank you, Deputy Leader. This report details the outcome of a procurement of a community equipment service for adults and children in Plymouth. This is a critical service focused on keeping people on their feet at home and in the community by supplying them with equipment to support them to live as independently as possible. Between 16,000 and 18,000 people per year in Plymouth are supported currently with a range of equipment, from beds to walking frames to hoists. Equipment is cleaned and recycled where appropriate. The service is currently provided by Millbrook. The Council worked with Torbay Council and commissioners and specialists from NHS Devon ICB to review the specification for the service to make it as equitable as possible across the 2 local authority areas. This included reviewing the list of equipment needed for the service to make sure it fits the demand profile. In addition, the budget for the service was reviewed to ensure it was realistic to meet likely demand. The Council received 4 bids, and it is proposed to award the contract to NRS, the highest scorer. NRS scored particularly well on performance, staffing and key activities. The new contract is proposed to be in place for 3 years, initially from the 1st of March 2023, with the option to extend for a further 3 years on a 1+1+1 basis. The total contract value, if the contract is in place for the full 6 years, is 13.6 million.
Right, has anybody any questions?
I thought Anna Coles might be saying something, but I'm not sure she's with us. Craig.
Chair, we've been joined by Emma Crowther, who's led on the procurement as well, and she no doubt would like to say a few words, Chair.
Good afternoon, Emma.
Hello, thank you. So I'm one of the strategic commissioning managers for the local authority and attending on behalf of Anna Coles today. So yes, just a couple of points to make. So this service is jointly funded between Plymouth City Council and NHS Devon ICB, formerly the CCG. And NHS Devon ICB will sign off their part of the decision process on the 17th of August. So we've aligned that as much as possible. Just to add as well, to support budget planning, prices in the new contract will be held for 12 months for equipment and for 3 years for activities such as cleaning and delivery of equipment. We do need to note, however, that all the providers involved in the procurement have flagged likely future challenges in relation to the cost of service delivery, including particularly fuel. Which we would have expected. There is an accompanying background technical report, if it's required, which details quite considerably the stages of the procurement, as this was quite a complex procurement. Just also to add, as the outcome of this tender does involve a change of provider from the incumbent Millbrook to a new provider, NRS, we have built in time into the project plan to allow for TUPE and the transfer of equipment and premises to avoid any disruption to service users.
Okay, thank you very much for that. Councillor Mahoney, have you got anything more to add to that?
Nothing more to say.
Okay, then we move on to the vote. The Cabinet voting on the award of the contract to Plymouth Community Equipment Services for the period between 2023 and 2026 to NRS as the highest scoring tender. Okay, all agreed? Thank you very much. All right, that concludes this afternoon's Cabinet meeting. Thank you very much.